Safaris. Line starts here. Hi. Right. Let's see what this is all about today.
Hi guys, the line's gonna be down this way. Guys, the line's gonna be down this way. Hi guys, line's gonna be down this way. You're gonna keep on walking straight on down. Hi guys, you're gonna keep on walking straight on down.
Oh. Wow, it looks like the line's a little bit bigger than what we thought. Yeah, it's okay. So it looks like they're routing us way up the hill here. Big demand today for the Kilimanjaro safari. So you can see there's a lot of people here in the parks today. Lots of people. Look at all those people.
What?
Wow, this is a popular ride today. I have never seen the line this far out and stretched out. This is amazing. It's almost like Pandora. So, I don't know. Everybody's wanting to ride this ride today. But boy, here we go. Alright, so our line seems to be moving pretty good. And then I say that and we stop. But there's a cool picture right there of the tree of the entrance. That's phenomenal. Very realistic looking. So I really like this ride. It's worth the wait in my opinion. Attraction ride, whatever you want to call it. Kilimanjaro Safaris, journey through Africa's amazing wildlife. Office and departures, here we go.
I'm moving too quick. Good idea, right?
Standby entrance, 65 minutes. So we'll go around this little corner here. Line. Kilimanjaro Safaris. Now the real fun begins. So at least the shade is not too bad at all. We got a little bit of wind today, not bad. But you can see the lines here. Line control is very well shaded and organized. Not too bad at all. All right. This is what to expect when you come on a Friday in the middle of the day after a holiday weekend. Look at all these people. This looks fun, doesn't it? Sign up for this. All right.
Space on the track is limited, so be certain to book your adventure in advance. Head straight. You also head straight. Okay, now the stroll.
Hi, two.
Two, you can head straight.
Awesome, thank you.
Have you eaten your party?
Here we go. Look, there's a sneak peek. Ooh.
Ciao, everyone. We are almost ready to board you on our safari vehicles, and I wanted to make certain I told you about our loading procedures. Before you actually enter the loading area, please locate the nearest trash bin and discard any unfinished food or drinks. If someone in your party is traveling with a mobility device, please line up behind that person, allowing them to lead the group through the gate at the end of the ramp immediately in front of you. As you approach the loading platform, please note that it is divided into two distinct zones. The area with handrails is the loading zone, or Zone 1. Zone 1 is where you will stand just before you board your vehicle. Zone 2 is immediately behind it. As you move out into Zone 2, please note the 4 circles at your feet in each row of the zone. Each row can comfortably seat 4 adults. Children may be seated next to or on the laps of their parents or accompanying adults. As the group ahead of you boards the safari truck, you may follow them into the loading area. But do not attempt to board the vehicle with them. The truck for your safari will follow shortly. For your own safety, always remain seated during your safari, as the road can be rough and bumpy, and keep your arms, hands, legs, and feet inside the vehicle at all times. Most importantly, please keep your eyes on your children. Securely store any personal items. And if you are on a night safari, don't forget to turn off the flash on your camera or phone. Once again, have a wonderful safari, and as we say here in Harare, Karibuni, welcome aboard.
Thanks, Caleb.
right side of the truck. Watch your hands, arms, feet, and legs. Doors are going to be sliding closed. We'll be on our way in just a moment or so. If you look above you, there is an animal spotting guide. Please feel free to use it as we make our way throughout the reserve. It's going to help you identify a lot of the animals we may or may not come across today. I recommend a sports live or action setting on the device since we'll be on the move. Asante Sana Orden. Alright, Jumbo everyone, my name is Michelle. I'm going to be your safari guide here through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve this afternoon. To a few safety reminders we need to go over before we make our way on in. It can get quite bumpy out here. Sometimes we have to make a sudden stop or two we never plan on having to make till it occurs. Please do not stand up at any point in time, even if the truck is fully stopped for an animal. That goes for adults as well as kids. Now parents, if you have a small child with you, they are more than welcome to sit on your lap. They do need to stay seated though on your lap and your lap only. Please don't let them walk around, don't hold them up on your lap, don't hold them up in the air, and please do not pass them between person to person or row to row. Just make sure they do stay seated like you do. Now for the safety of yourself and the safety of the animals, there is no eating, drinking, or smoking. If any of you have a bubble wand, make sure it is turned off and put away at this point in time. Make sure you also keep your hands, arms, feet, legs, cell phones, cameras, everything inside the vehicle at all times. We do have to go through some rough brush, and some of those bushes do have longer thorns on them. In some cases, the animals are able to make their way right next to the vehicle, so not only for your safety, it's also for their safety that everything stays inside, as we don't want anything falling out onto the ride path. And again, that animal spotting guide is above you. Again, feel free to use that if you would like to, and have that camera on a sports live or action setting. We'll be on the move through the reserve. There's also a very good possibility when we see these animals, they could also be on the move and migrating, so it's going to help make sure that your photos don't come out as blurry. Now we're going to wait for the truck ahead of us to make its way on into the reserve, and then we'll wait for the warden to clear us on forward. When we do make our way into the reserve, be mindful that we are going into the animals' home. We are their guests. Be respectful of and towards them. Don't call out to them in any way, shape, or form. A lot of the times it actually scares the animals and they don't want to come out and closer to the vehicles. They want to hide in those bushes. So keep that in mind as we make our way throughout the reserve. Just be respectful of them. Now when we do get the final all clear to head on into the reserve, we're going to start out first in the Little Aturi Forest. A lot of the animals who call the forest their home tend to be a little bit more shy and reclusive than the rest. They're going to have a lot of natural markings on their body to be used as a camouflage. That's going to help them to blend in with all of the bushes and sometimes even up against rocks. So we'll just kind of be looking all over the place for them. We might also be listening for them as well, because you never know where they might be hiding. We have that all clear, so we're going to head on in and we'll start out in that Little Aturi Forest and see what we can all come across. Now I do see some watering holes right away. Watering holes are great places to be looking for animals because a lot of them will need to stay hydrated throughout the day like we do, especially on these hotter days like today. And just off to that right hand side, eating some leaves, there is an okapi on the hill. The okapi for the longest time was considered to be a mythical creature, all the way up until about 1901 when they were finally discovered by the Western world. Even to this day, we don't know how many exist, and that's due to the zebra stripes found on their legs and hindquarters. It helps them to blend in with the brush on a bright sunny day and, in a sense, then turn them invisible. We do know, though, based off of studies, that they are the only living known relative to the giraffe. They have the same amount of vertebrae in their neck, roughly the same skull structure, and a few smaller similarities as well. Such a shy, reclusive animal, for the first 30 days of life, the mother actually hides her young one in the brush and it won't go to the bathroom for that first month or so. That way a predator can't pick up on its scent and it stays nice and hidden. Now down to the left-hand side in that watering hole is a saddle-billed stork. It's the largest of the storks at 5 feet tall with a wingspan 9 feet in length. There's also a very large black rhino across from us to this left-hand side. Looks a bit orange. The orange is from the mud wallows. They'll use mud as a sunscreen to keep them safe from the sun, but also to keep them cool, as they'll weigh in at around 3,000 pounds and have a skin that ranges anywhere from 2 to 3 inches in thickness. They're also the least social and most solitary of the 5 rhino species, usually found by themselves, but occasionally forming a crash, which is a group of them. Way up on that hill to the right, that tall tan antelope is a greater kudu, second tallest antelope here in Africa at 55 inches tall, leaping 6 feet in the air from a standstill. Now hiding in the bushes up on the hills in the shade, those copper-colored animals up there to the right are called bongos. Bongos are known as the ghost of the forest because they're very rarely seen, with males and females growing horns 32 to 36 inches in length and slanted back. That way they can dive through the brush and not get tangled up, as unlike the greater kudu, the bongos aren't able to leap. Now we're going to make our way on forward and head out of the Aturi Forest to go up this tiny hill to the Safi River. The river is home to many water-dwelling animals, such as the Nile hippopotamus. Hippos, for a good part of their day, do tend to stay submerged in the water to help keep their larger bodies nice and cool. and are able of holding their breath for about 8 minutes at a time before they'd have to float to the surface for a breath of air. Even while sleeping in the water though, at about that 8-minute mark, the hippo's body will know to naturally rise on up, get a breath, go back under, and remain asleep throughout the entire process. Now, typically during the evening hours is when the hippo will come out to the bank to graze about 80 to 90 pounds of vegetation, but they'll use the cooler weather to their advantage to allow them to travel about 5 miles or so up the river to search for that grass. We'll keep our eyes though on the water. It's a bit of a hotter day, but we are actually in some luck. There's a hippo out on the bank in the shade grazing along right now. Now at birth they are only about 85 pounds, but like we'll see in a moment, by around the age of 5 they will be fully grown, anywhere from 5,000 all the way up to 5,500 pounds. So that 80 to 90 pounds of vegetation a day really isn't that much food, but it's also because they don't use a lot of energy. Rather than swimming, the hippo can typically be found walking or kind of bouncing around the surface of the river, as it will conserve the energy. That way they don't have to find food at the end of the day, or as much food as you would think. They are going to be able to charge at 25 miles per hour out on land and are one of the more dangerous animals in all of Africa. Extremely aggressive and territorial, even taking down the larger predators like Nile crocodile. They are also one of the very few species with a built-in sunscreen on their skin, which means they don't need mud and dirt like rhinos and elephants do. Now the larger gray-white birds out here as well, near that hippo with the long bills, those are a pod of pink-backed pelicans, and they get their name from a pink coloration found on their back wings and skin that's there year-round, but becomes more vibrant during the mating season. They're also a colonial nester, nesting in pairs from 20 all the way up to around 500. Now in a moment we're going to cross a bridge, so for your safety just remain seated and don't hold those kids up for this next species. Found in the water, the group name's known as a float. Found out on land, their group name's known as a basque. These are Nile crocodile. Nile crocodile get to be as long as a giraffe is tall, which is anywhere from 18 to 20 feet. They're going to weigh in at around 500 pounds and can consume half of their body weight in one sitting. Typically, they're going to eat small fish for their daily diet and survive off of them for a few weeks if need be, but will take down the larger prey whenever given the opportunity to do so. Now, found in the water, the Nile crocodile can hold its breath for about 2 hours at a time. And something you may have noticed with a handful of the ones that were out on land, they had their jaws open. That's actually how they regulate their body temperatures. Unlike us, Nile crocodile don't have sweat glands, so they open up those jaws, they let that hot air out, they'll then bring that cold air in, and then they'll cool themselves down in order to not overheat. But we've made our way far away from them and up that large hill out of the Safi River, which means it'll be time for us to now head on down to the savannah. The savannah is also known as the Serengeti grasslands, where we can hopefully come across animals such as elephants, giraffe, cheetah, zebra, among other species though as well. Now, due to all different types of patterns such as migration, sleeping, or even weather, we never really know what we're going to find, where we're going to find it, or maybe even what the vocalizations we'd be able to hear will be, till we make our way down this large hill and go through all the long turns. Now the nice part about the savanna is that the ecosystems obviously changed. You can see that there aren't as many trees and bushes covering us as there were in the forest and river. It's because of larger animals like elephants acting like bulldozers to take them down, to clear out pathways to allow herds to migrate through. It looks like the first species we'll encounter is off to the right, and it's a mountain zebra. You'll be able to see possibly from the angle of the truck that the mountain zebra has no stripes on its underbellies, which is how we can tell they're mountain and not Grevy or Grant. They also have little extra flaps of skins that hang down from their neck called dewlaps to keep them cool, and have extra thick black stripes on their hindquarters. Now the mountain zebra, like we just saw, is the largest of those three species between the Grant or the Grevy, and they'll weigh in at around 750 pounds, but each one of those zebras will carry a back kick powerful enough to break the jaw of a lion with just one kick to it. Now they tend to stay in a group known as a dazzle, so we'll keep our eyes open for a dazzle, a mountain zebra, this afternoon. As we do, I do see some more species a bit farther off in the distance. It also looks like there's a den up ahead here to the left-hand side as well, so we might come across some predators this afternoon. And it looks like resting in the shade of the den is a pack of wild African dog. We'll stop across from them in just a moment as we make our way closer. They are also known as painted dog for the unique coloration and patchwork found on their fur of the orange, black, and white. They are a dawn and dusk hunter, so very natural to see them resting up in the heat of the day. Ran by an alpha male and an alpha female, they'll live in packs of 2 to 15, and despite the tiny, adorable stature, they are the top hunter in all of Africa. They'll chase down their prey till it can no longer run, and it drops from exhaustion, which then gives them a 90% success rate higher than lions, cheetahs, and hyenas. Off to the left, you'll see that there are some sable antelope with red coats. As we pass this large bush, those are going to be females. Males are a jet black, but both will grow sets of horns around 3 feet in length and curved to be used as a defense mechanism. Now off here to this left-hand side is a smaller herd of wildebeest. The wildebeest do live in these tiny numbers on a daily basis and then take part in the largest migration each year with around 1.5 million, traveling anywhere from 500 all the way up to 1,000 miles each year. The wildebeest will also be known as wild beast and new. New will be spelled G-N-U, and that's for a lower grunting sound they make, which pretty much just sounds like the word new when one of us would say it. Now as we loop around over here to the right and left hand side, we're going to see some tinier tan antelope. They're called springbok. They are fully grown. They only get to be about 3 feet tall. They're the second fastest land animal though, right behind the cheetah, with a speed of 60 miles per hour. And they do so while running in a zigzag pattern that actually helps tire out predators from chasing them down. Now the springbok get their name from their ability to spring high up into the air, and that's going to be known as pronking. And it's where they jump in a rainbow-shaped motion, about 13 feet. They're also able though to leap 6 feet as well. Now the males and the females will grow these little V-shaped horns, and they're going to grow a little bit slanted back. The males will be a bit thicker and wider set compared to the females. Now it looks like there are some messy patterns on top of the hill off to the left side, so we're going to loop around now. Looks like there's one of the giraffe up there, one of the younger ones. Looks like it's going to go walk through some of those bushes, so we'll most likely keep our eyes up on these hills then to the left, because there's most likely more hiding up there. Now a group of giraffe, if they're stationary, would be known as a tower due to their height. But when they're on the move and migrating, they're going to be known as a journey, since that's what they're on a journey. Because of the messy, jagged, leaf-like pattern though to the coat of the giraffe we just saw up on that hill, most likely we'll encounter either a tower or a journey of Maasai giraffe, as they get the Maasai name from the messy, jagged pattern found on their coat. But we will make our way forward around to the other side of this hill. It looks like there's also some more zebra a bit closer up ahead as well, so we'll get some close views of that dazzle mountain zebra. They might be hanging out near a giraffe. It's not uncommon to see different species kind of migrating together. A lot of the time they do that to keep each other nice and safe from predators. But we'll see what we may be encountering near those zebra in a moment then as well. We're going to be heading on forward to Tembo country. Tembo in Swahili though means elephants. We'll go see if we can find some elephant this afternoon after we go take a good view of these mountain zebra. Also looks like some Patterson eland hanging out to the far right hand side in just a moment as well. This will be a female eland. She's going to weigh in at about 1,400 pounds. Large male behind her weighing in at about 2,000 pounds. They'll be the tallest and largest antelope here in Africa at 6 feet tall at just the shoulder blade alone, and can leap 6 feet in the air from a standstill. And he looks very beautiful right now. He is wearing his crown of grass. He will dig himself a crown of grass and dirt, and then he'll pop his ligaments extremely loud, and that's going to attract the females. Some more Maasai giraffe off to that left-hand side as well. Now, a baby giraffe at birth will be about 6 feet tall, weighing in at 150 pounds, doubling in size though in the first year of life to be fully grown by the ages of 3 to 4, standing anywhere from 18 to 20 feet. Now we're going to head on forward. We're going to make our way now to Tembo country. We are going to make our way though through Monkey Point to get there. Now, Monkey Point has been occasionally home to the home of mandrills. Mandrills do tend to be a little bit more shy and reclusive, like a lot of the animals we saw back in the forest. I do, however, see some ear flapping off to the right side, so it looks like we might come across a Tembo over here at Monkey Point. You can see just past through all that tall grass that there's one hanging out over here. Now with the flapping of the ears, that elephant can cool itself down by about 13 degrees. You can see off to the left so that there are some mandrills coming down that hill here. Now the tall, lanky one is one of the males, getting a talking to from one of the females right now. She'll have a smaller size. Another female, one of the younger ones, the one that's also coming down right there into the bushes, has a baby with her as well. So the smaller females weigh in at about 25 pounds, the larger male will weigh in at about 100 pounds. Now he won't be the dominant male within the group. The dominant male will have brighter blues and reds to his front and back ends. He'll also have a larger belly in comparison to the one we just saw. They also have extra pouches in their mouth that they store food in for later on. That way, if they're not as hungry as they thought they were or had to make their way to safety, they'd be able to do so at a moment's notice. And we're going to continue to head on forward more toward Tembo country, see if we can go find some more elephants. They're going to be a matriarch society. The matriarch society will differ between species, but the gist of it is that the females will be in charge in some way, shape, or form. And for the elephants, it's the oldest and wisest found living in the herd that makes all the decisions for everyone. Now the elephant that we just caught a glimpse of not too long ago at Monkey Point may have been in this red clay pit not too long ago. I do see a lot of footprints and tusk marks in the area. And red clay provides the animals with a lot of vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and proteins needed in their daily diet. So that one may have stopped for a quick bite to eat on its journey. Also looks like there might be some timber a bit farther up ahead here, so that's a good sign as well. We'll pull past all these trees and bushes and go get some clearer views of them. Now the elephants will live together throughout the entirety of their lives if they are a female, so them and their younger calf make up the larger herd numbers. Whereas a male by about the age of 13 will get kicked out and get sent to live the life of a bachelor, or more of that solitary lifestyle that we had talked about briefly when we saw the black rhino back in the forest. Sometimes though males do form smaller bachelor herds, where it'll just be a small handful of them, usually with a larger male that will be in charge of that group. Whereas the females again stay together with their younger calves. Now female elephants do have the longest gestation period for any animal at 22 months. After waiting almost 2 full years for just the one calf to arrive, when it does show up, it weighs in at around 300 pounds, standing a few feet tall. Gets babysat by the rest of the family throughout the day, like aunts, cousins, sisters, or young brothers. Now mom will be in the area a lot of the time though. During the nighttime is when they bond together, and one of the juvenile elephants is over there to the left hand side, hanging out near mom. Mom has those perfect curved tusks. The young one is just behind her on her left hand side. Handful of years old at this time, so no longer unfortunately a baby, but also not an adult yet, so it's a juvenile. There she is. Still very small though compared to the females she's hanging out with. Now we're going to head into this water and pulling up around the bend, and we're going to encounter a flamboyance, a greater flamingo. Now greater flamingo are not only the tallest but also the lightest shade of pink. When hatched, they start out as a little gray fluff ball, and we're going to be in luck because over these last 6 weeks or so, we've had a whole bunch of the babies hatch from their eggs. You'll see that there are 2 mounds that remain, which means that there are still some eggs we are waiting on. But you're going to have to look fairly close. There was one that was hatched last week who will be very small, who is, if you look where the palm trees are, you're going to see that it almost looks like a little pebble over there. So it's actually about half the size. About a week ago when it was hatched, it'll be half the size that it is right now. So it's pretty small right now. Unfortunately, they don't stay tiny for too long. By about the age of 6 months, they will stand at their full 5 feet tall. So you can see that the ones that are about 6 weeks at this point are a lot larger and fluffier. Coloration-wise, it'll take about 1.5 years to 2 years of a diet of brine shrimp and beta-carotene to gain it throughout their entire body. Now, as you can hear, a pretty vocal bird as well. We're going to continue to make our way forward, though, around these rocks. We've had some pretty good luck so far out here, so we'll see if we maybe continue that, and it looks like we're going to, because there are some white rhino in the area. A group known as a crash. They are the most social of the 5 rhino species. They will weigh in at about 5,000 pounds and charge at 35 miles per hour. And again, like the black rhino, they have a skin 2 to 3 inches thick, so the mud's used as a sunscreen, but to also cool themselves down. Now they get their name from the Afrikaans word vite, meaning wide, for the wide box-like jaw structure you see that they have. It helps them to graze the grass. Miscommunication led to them being called white rhino, and them and black rhino are the color gray. As you can see though, these two have been in the mud throughout the day already. Now every once in a while you might see their ears rotate or wiggle. That's them figuring out we're there in comparison to what they hear. I'm going to slow down though, because there's another one going to cross the road in just a moment from the right.
Right there.
We don't want to get in his way.
He's crossing. Where? Right there. You'll see him. Right there. He's just chilling.
The white rhino and rhinos in general, though, are extremely agile and light-footed creatures that they're also able to gallop. Now you can even see those external ears on, or hair on the ears to help with that hearing that we just talked about, because again, you only see about 2 feet in front of them, which will come in handy when they are grazing the ground. They just need to rely more so on the ears and the sense of smell to get by. Now the gestation period for the white rhino is 16 to 18 months long, and one of their calves could weigh anywhere from 90 all the way up to 140 pounds at birth. To keep it nice and safe, it runs out in front of mom, and then it's going to have mom follow behind while charging to keep the little one nice and safe. Now occasionally up on these hills to this left-hand side, we have been known to spot cheetahs. Speaking of spots though, they like to use the dark brown ones on their gold coats as a natural camouflage to keep them blended in with all the brush and the dense vegetation up here. That way they can stay hidden from their prey. If they like to lay flat within the shade though, we like to look for the ear twitches and tail flips, as it can be a bit of a giveaway as to where they might be hiding. So we'll see if we maybe come across any. If not, Hakuna Matata, no worries. Looks like we're just going to keep making our way on forward. Up here though, to the right side, hiding in these bushes, there are some water buck. These are female water buck. They have no horns, but they will have heart-shaped noses, and they also have white rings on their back sides that you might be able to see when we make this turn a little bit more. The white ring though will be like how we have a name. It's how they tell each other apart. Now they can use it to migrate, whether it be throughout the day or the evening, but during the evening it has an advantage as it can reflect off of the moonlight. Now waterbuck get their name because they do tend to drink an absurd amount of water for their species, especially in their lifetime. Typically only migrating in search for that water. Obviously it keeps them hydrated, but on their coat will be a greasiness that can produce a very smelly stench, and that's going to keep them safe from predators wanting to chase them down, because once they get a whiff of that waterbuck, a lot of the times they want to search for a different meal. Now off to that right hand side, that little brown animal with horns, that is a bontebok. Bontebok are also called colorful bucks for the multiple shades of brown found on their coat that turn to beautiful glossy shades of purple on bright sunny days. Unfortunately, due to illegal poaching though for their horns, meat, and coat, their numbers were dwindling quite rapidly, leaving less than 20 in the entire world. A farmer saw that and was able to get them onto a fenced area of his land, and due to conservation efforts, they've been able to slowly and safely repopulate their numbers to bring them back up into the thousands. Now I do see a much tinier animal in comparison to the large white rhino we just saw, but reaching the same speed at 35 miles per hour is the warthog. That warthog is kind of in the shade right now. Looks like it may have been in the mud well not too long ago. It looks pretty freshly used. Mud is, again, sunscreen. It's going to keep them cool. It also relieves the warthog from a lot of bugs that attach onto their body. Now those large curved tusks you see, those are the ones they use to dig out the burrows. And on their bottom jaws are sharper, shorter pair to keep them nice and safe. That way when they are in the burrow, they back in with the tusks pointed out to be able to keep themselves nice and safe. Warthog, though, are related to the domesticated pig. They're also going to be the largest burrowing animal. Now we're going to continue to make our way on forward. We're actually going to be leaving the savannah in just a moment or so to go across a small bridge that will lead us over to the Magadi Glen. The glen is where we can find the warden post. The warden helps protect the land and the animals who call it home. And occasionally we do encounter some animals over there every once in a while. So we'll make our way across this bridge, see what we maybe find over here.
Squirrel. How about a kitty cat?
Now, it looks like there might be some of the warden's friends up on that hill here to the left-hand side. Those are domestic Nigerian dwarf goat hanging out in the shade. Due to their tinier stature, they don't require as much roaming room and feed like the larger livestock need, but their digestive tracts allow them to eat a lot of weeds, dense vegetation, and underbrush that larger livestock aren't able to consume. With this being said, a lot of the day is spent eating along with resting and playing. And the playing can help overall with maturing and dominance. Now, they were originally domesticated and are still in use for their milk to assist with making dairy products that are high not only in nutrition but also in value. That way we can hopefully rely more so on the domesticated animals rather than the wild ones, and then in the future be able to coexist more harmoniously with all animals, as at the end of the day that's one of our main goals. Now my friends, those right there are the gates to the reserve we just made our way through, so it's time for us to head out and head up to the ranger station closer to the village, where there I'm going to drop you all off so you can be on your way to your next adventure. If you have plans to stay with us here in Harambe a bit longer and are wanting to explore some more, I recommend taking a trip on the Wildlife Express, which is the train. It runs continuously throughout the day, every few minutes, and the last one departs at 4:30, but it will take you over to the conservation station and Rafiki's Planet Watch. Over there, you are able to come in contact with more animals, earn Wilderness Explorer badges, talk with some of the animal programs team, and learn about the Disney Wildlife Conservation Fund. You can also see the animal hospital. Has some pretty large viewing windows to it, so you might see a simple checkup or even a procedure occurring. Maybe nothing's going on, but you'll never know till you make your way over there. It's also where the animation experience is, so if you like to draw, definitely recommend going over to Rafiki's. Animators will show you how to draw Disney characters of the animal variety. You don't know who or what you'll be drawing till your session starts. Each session goes about 15 minutes long or so, and will be different each time. And you'll get to keep what you draw as well. Now, if you are a wilderness explorer, it's a great place to go and earn badges, but there's also the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail here in Harambe. About 15-20 minutes long, all self-guided, so you can take your time with it or go through it as quickly as you would like to. It'll be open until 6:45 this evening. Over there, though, you might come across colobus monkeys, western lowland gorillas, hippos, meerkats, naked mole rats, scruffy zebra, among other species as well. If you are a wilderness explorer, though, you need to know that the name of the truck you've been riding on is the Simba 1. Simba like the lion, S-I-M-B-A, and the number 1. Found on page 15 of your handbook. Your badge is back in the village, across from the entrance of the Kilimanjaro Safari Ride, underneath the white awning. The wilderness explorers will be out and about through Animal Kingdom till 6 p.m. If you're wanting to learn more about the animals that you may or may not encounter here today at Animal Kingdom or over at Epcot at the Seas with Nemo and Friends, if you have Disney Plus, the streaming service, there is an 8-episode show done called The Magic of Disney's Animal Kingdom. Gives you a little bit more of an in-depth look at these animals' lives, such as their likes, dislikes, names, personality, nutrition, enrichment. It's also going to introduce you to a handful of the animal programs and veterinary team that take care of these animals on a 24/7 basis. So again, Magic of Disney's Animal Kingdom, if you want to check that show out. Now, if you want to stay here in Harambe or come back and join us for another safari, you're always more than welcome to. No two safaris are ever the same. Animals always make sure of that for you, but you might see different species or maybe even learn something new. The last safari goes out at 7 p.m., so just keep that in mind as you make your way throughout the day. If you want to go to Rafiki's, the last train goes out at 4:30, Gorilla Falls closes at 6:45, and the last safari goes out with park close at 7 p.m. If you're wanting to see a show here in Harambe at the Harambe Theater, there is Celebration of Festival of the Lion King over at the Harambe Theater. It has a very large lion tapestry on the building, so you won't be able to miss it. I recommend checking the My Disney Experience app, though, for show times on that show, as it does vary from day to day. Now, it looks like the horn's calling us forward, so it's time for us to part ways, but rather than say goodbye, we say Kwaherini, which in Swahili means to go well. So, Kwaherini, Asante Sana, thanks for joining me this afternoon, and have a great day discovering all of Animal Kingdom and wherever else your travels take you. Jumbo Warden. Friends on the right side of the truck, watch your hands, arms, feet, and legs. Doors are going to slide open. Watch your step down. Double check those rows and have a great rest of your day out there.
Bum, ba-da-da-bum, bum, bum, bum. That was fun. Okay. It's too hot, so I'm gonna call it a day. That was Kilimanjaro Safaris. How fun. All right. Is he out? Is he sleeping?
So there's one that's sleeping, there's one if you come back over to the seat.
Uh-oh.
See if he's still there. Yep. Right up there on the rocks.
Oh, yeah, look.
Or not the oldest, I'm sorry, the alpha male, he is 30.
30.
There is that one that's sleeping in the waterfall area over there as well, which is Spike the youngest, 27.
Doesn't he like to sleep over there all the time?
Absolutely, that's his favorite spot, is up by the waterfall.
Yeah.
And actually, the one who's up there at the rocks, his favorite spot is just right down in here.
Really?
It's away from everyone else.
Oh, yeah. Picky. So what's he doing up there right now, do you know?
So he was eating, and then just a couple of minutes ago, he kind of propped his arm up there, and he's kind of just been resting. So it looks like he's just kind of like leaning, like you lean on the couch.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. Just hanging out, taking it
So
all
it's like
in.
his arms here, and his chin is on his arm.
Yeah. He's bored.
Absolutely. He switches between eating and sleeping all day, so he's got a pretty easy schedule.
Awesome. So do you ever catch them climbing the trees?
Yeah, they can do that.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Absolutely. That's why there's always going to be a good separation between the trees on our side and the trees on their side.
Right.
And then there's also going to be this water barrier as they cannot swim, so they are not going to cross over that water either.
And they won't even attempt it? No, really? They can't
They
swim?
don't like water.
I didn't know that.
So they live out in the rainforest and border sea areas in Central Africa, but they ironically don't like the rain and things like that, so they avoid the water as much as possible. So that's why there are lots of like caved-in spots in this 2-acre area and everything. So
Wow.
it gives them lots of ability to hide out from the rain and things like that.
All right.
Spikes underwater, so that'll be very safe. All right.
Yeah. And Jessa,
Yeah.
you're awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, you're a wealth of information. We really appreciate that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All
Absolutely.
right.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, we did. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right. Okay, on to the next one. Woo.
That's a warm spot right there.
Yes, that is a warm spot right there.
It's toasty. And then I don't know if you saw Spike, but Spike's leg is the one that's sticking out behind those greens.
Oh, yeah. Yep. You can see him. I don't know if the camera can pick him up, though, but
You can get closer.
yeah, it's just,
It's a little sunny there.
yeah, the angle of the sun, right. I don't know if you can see him or not, but he's just right there in the center of the frame, center of the picture. Okay, sleepy time. All right. Looks like that's a going theme around here, sleepy time. Okay, I think that's what we're gonna do too. Sleepy time. All right, everyone, thank you. Please like, subscribe, like, thumbs up, comment, share. You know what to do. Appreciate it, everyone. We love you. Bye.